Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I am your host, Credit Coach Nicole Scott, and today we are going to be covering the final part of the 3-series Business Credit Secrets Masterclass. So we are going to be covering some Tier 2, aka Level 2, and Tier 3 vendors for you guys to start building business credit. If you have not watched Part 1 or Part 2, you definitely want to watch those videos. And if you have not purchased the business credit course, make sure that you use the link below to purchase the course, because all of this information is inside of our business credit course. And we continue to add value in information as it comes about. This is not something that we are going to start a new course. We are going to continue to add value to our current courses. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started so we can finish up this final part to the 3-part series. Let's go. All right. So with Level 2, the concept behind business credit with the different tiers, or you can call them levels, Tier 1 or Level 1 is going to be more or less like your vendor accounts, your Net 30 accounts, your Quill, your Uline, your Granger. I have a ton of those Tier 1 accounts listed inside of the business credit course. So you just need to find about 5 Tier 1 accounts to add to your business credit reports. Now, keep in mind, when you are adding a trade line, you actually have to make a purchase from them and you have to pay it in order for them to report your trade experience or your payment experience to the business credit bureaus, okay? By the time you get to Level 2, you want to have at least, I say 5, just to be on the safe side, 5 trade accounts reporting to your business credit reports. Now, keep in mind, the most important ones, like we went over before, Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. There are others, but we're not going to worry too much about those because, chances are if we are getting trade references or trade accounts that report to some of the major ones, chances are they might report to some of the smaller ones as well. Every vendor is different. Every account is different. You always want to verify with the source, and the source is whoever the creditor or vendor is, okay? The goal is to add 2 to 5 trade accounts from Level 2. I say have a goal of 5 because, again, not every vendor that you are going to open an account with is going to report to all of the business credit bureaus. So that's why it's good to have a goal: 5 from Tier 1, 5 from Tier 2, 5 from Tier 3. That'll give you 15, and you should end up with somewhere around between 8 and 12 on each of the business bureaus, okay? That's the goal in simple concept, right? But of course, it's a lot harder than me just telling you, oh, just get 5 from here, 5 from there, 5 from there. Because, there's other factors involved. Not everyone gets approved. It depends on how long you've been in business. So you definitely want to go about this strategically. And we kind of went over some of the requirements for some of these vendors. So if you are a newer business, you might have a little bit more hoops that you have to jump through, but it's worth it because at the end of the day, you just want to show your ability as a business owner to repay back debt as agreed. You're not a risk. Whatever you borrow, you pay back. When you make a purchase and you do it on your credit terms or your net terms, it is a payment that is going to be reported based on those terms. So if it's a net 30, net 7, whatever the terms are, that's how it's going to be reported. Now you have to make your payment in order for them to report that experience, right? To ensure that your vendors report your payment, you want to make a purchase of $75 or more. So that's why I always tell people, be creative. If you are buying things in your household like supplies, toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies. Do those purchases through a vendor that you can build business credit with. It's easy to go to Walmart and buy these things, no doubt, but a lot of these vendors offer free shipping on orders over, say, $50. So you can buy a lot of the things that you're already paying for in cash, and you can just transfer those over to the business credit, especially when you're first starting out, because a lot of times we don't have a big budget to buy a bunch of this stuff. And it's like, well, what do I do? Well, one of the things that I did that really helped me was I started literally doing everything that I do under my business. Paper, supplies, cleaning supplies, paper towels, toilet paper, any sort of household supplies or supplies that I needed for my autos. When I moved, I even rented a U-Haul under a commercial account. So I opened a commercial U-Haul account and I got that reported as a trade reference. So you really have to be creative. A lot of these places that we do business with, or that we shop at, or that we use, have a commercial account, but of course we've never asked, we've never inquired, and they certainly aren't just going to offer up that information to us because chances are they don't know about it either, right? So we want to do our due diligence and see if there are any sort of commercial accounts that we can open up with whomever we are using, okay? Just keep that mindset. Typically, it takes anywhere from 30 to 90 days for your payment to report on your business credit report. If you are buying trade lines, be careful. You want to do it with someone that you can trust, like myself. You want to make sure that they are not trying to overcharge you and under-deliver. I've had a lot of people that, they're in a rush, they want the quick way out, and they purchased trade lines, but it really wasn't beneficial for them, because what people don't understand is it's great purchasing business trade lines and all, but you want to make sure that you're in a place where you can actually fully utilize them. Most of the time, you're going to need a personal guarantee, because the trade lines are great for your business, but the accounts that you are going to be wanting to apply for are going to require a personal guarantee. So when you add trade lines to your business, you want to make sure that your personal credit is also up there, like over a 700, before you go and try to apply for anything. Now, business trade lines, they are going to report to your business credit reports a lot longer than personal ones. They could stay on there anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, to be honest with you. Sometimes they fall off once the account is paid, but generally speaking, our trade lines are kind of like long term. So they are going to report those payments for you for a few months before they are paid in full. And that's to benefit you. So they will stay on your report longer. So if you are planning out for the next 6 years to a year, you can certainly add a business trade line to your credit report and just kind of let it marinate for a little while, right? Let the payments run its course. We can opt for, the longest payment cycle that we can offer, just so, it's building in the background, right? So let's talk about some of the different vendors that are included under the tier 2/level 2 trade accounts, right? 7-Eleven, Fleet Universal. Now, I kind of shared my experience with 7-Eleven. They actually denied me because my business was less than 2 years old. So sometimes you will be declined based on the time in business that you have. It's more challenging for people that have had a business established for less than 2 years. It's not impossible. It's not something that I would use to derail you or demotivate you. Certainly not, because all of this takes time. I would just focus on getting as many accounts built up on your business side and then work on your personal credit at the same time. Working on those at the same time is going to get you faster to the goal, because you can bypass a lot of, unneeded trade accounts and building with your personal credit. I'm not saying to totally ignore building your business credit, but you want to kind of work together on your business credit and your personal credit, right? You have to understand both because they work hand in hand for small business owners. So the 7-Eleven card is basically a fuel card that you can use at any 7-Eleven, and you can save up to 7 cents per gallon off of the fuel. And it reports to Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. So it's a great card to have, but they are a little bit stricter as far as who they approve. So you must be in good standing with the Secretary of State. Of course, your EIN must be, registered with the IRS. You must have a business address matching everywhere. You must have your DUNS number. If you do have a business license, great. If not, no big deal. As long as a business license isn't required, then you're fine. You must have a business bank account. You must have some established business credit. So that's why I say it's important to have 5 accounts from tier 1 or level 1. And you will need a PG if you have been in business for less than 3 years. So this is kind of where I ran into my roadblock, was I had not been in business for at least 3 years at that time, and I did not want to PG, so I just bypassed it. Now, if you have been in business for at least 3 years, great, go ahead and apply. If you have been in business for less than 3 years, they will require a personal guarantee. If you have decent credit, at least like a 680 or above, by all means, go for it. Now, they can give you a $500 deposit instead of using a PG. So that's really, up to you. I'm not a huge fan of providing deposits when you can just wait a little bit of time, because you never want to open an account and then close it, right? Just to get your deposit back. So if you are not keen on the idea of giving a $500 deposit, I would just wait until you've been in business for at least 3 years. Or if you feel comfortable doing a PG, that's fine. The only people that don't want to do a PG are those that have challenged credit, or those that say, well, I don't want to personally guarantee it because, what if something happens? I don't want to hear what if something happens. You are starting a business for the long run, right? We don't want to plan to go out of business before we have even started, okay? That's the wrong type of mentality to have. You want to go into this saying, I'm going to be successful long term. I know it's going to take time, blood, sweat, tears. I know some days are going to be harder than others, but guess what? Through it all, I am going to remain strong and I am going to stick with it. Success doesn't come easy. If you think it is easy to become successful, you have been mistaken. It is going to take long hours. It is going to take, like I said, your blood, your sweat, your tears. But guess what? It's all for you. It's for your business. It's for your family. It's for generational wealth, okay? You might not see success in your business for 5 years. But as long as you are sticking with it, you are still trying, you're generating some income, you are paying your bills on time, it's a process, okay? And that's why they say businesses are so quick to go out of business within the first 2 years, because people give up. They just give up. And again, one of the 3 C's has to be there in order for you to get business credit. And I talk about these 3 C's all the time, and they're super important. So it's collateral, right? You have to have some sort of collateral, whether you own a building, a home, whatever the case is, collateral. It could be on the personal side or the business side. You have to have cash. You got to have some cash flow, right? You got to show that you are generating income for your business. Or you have to have credit, right? One of those 3 things has to come, right? And it's a prime example right here. So if you don't have, credit, you got to give cash. And if you don't have cash, you have to be in business for a certain period of time. So you just want to make sure that you are in the right position before you just go and apply for some of these places, because you're going to get declined. And while a decline certainly does not hold the same value as it does on the personal side, you just don't want to be denied by everyone that you apply for, right? Because it's discouraging. The payment terms with 7-Eleven are net 22. So what that means is anytime it's a net and then a number, net 7, net 10, net 22, that means that you have to pay that 22 days from the time that they invoice you. I recommend paying it early, especially if you are just starting to build, because guess what? You are showing your ability to pay back debt as agreed. So you want to make sure that you're paying a few days early. You never want a vendor to report that you were slow to pay. Okay. That is one of the biggest ways that you can literally shoot yourself in the foot. Let's move on to Valvoline. Valvoline is another trusted fleet maintenance company. It's like the Valvoline oil. So you can use it for maintenance at the Valvoline instant oil change locations. You can use this for fuel at about 90% of the fueling locations wherever the WEX card is accepted. And if you just look on the little gas pump sign, it'll tell you all the different cards that are accepted. Most gas companies or gas stations will accept the WEX card because there's so many different fuel cards that WEX holds. So the Valvoline card reports to Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. So again, this is another great trade reference that reports to 3 bureaus, which is amazing, right? So in order to get approved for Valvoline, your entity needs to be in good standing with the Secretary of State. Again, address matching everywhere. If you, for some reason, changed your address, you need to make sure that that's updated with the IRS, the Secretary of State, and everywhere that your business is listed online, including all of the different Business Bureau reports. Again, you cannot necessarily update with them with some, but you can request that they update it via email, okay? You can also call them in. You need to make sure that you have a business bank account, okay? You need to make sure that you have been in business for at least 1 year, okay? If you are not approved based on your business history, or you have been in business for less than 1 year, then a $500 deposit may be required, or a PG. Kind of similar to the 7-Eleven card. So it's really just like you got to pick what is going to be best for you. If the $500 deposit is the only route, then hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. It's not necessarily what we want to do, but in these type of cases, we got to start building, okay? And we got to get accounts that are going to report to multiple bureaus. So this is another option for you guys. It is a net 22, so you have to pay it 22 days from the date of invoice. Sunbelt Rentals. So this is a great company because Sunbelt is one of the largest equipment rental companies in North America, and they are backed by a network of nearly 600 locations nationwide. So Sunbelt offers equipment rental solutions for a variety of customers in the commercial, residential, industrial, municipal, and they specialize in industries for the people that like to do it themselves, right? The do-yourselfers, right? Just like Home Depot says, you got to do it yourself. And that's what I'm all about, doing it yourself. Now, let me just kind of break off to another sector here and kind of give you guys a little insight. I like to kind of share my story and my journey with you guys as it progresses. And one of the things that people come to me a lot for is saying, hey, can you build my business credit for me? I'm like, no, I cannot do it for you. But what I can do is I can coach you. I can walk you through the process. We can work together to build out your business credit, but I can't just do it for you because you have to open accounts, you have to buy things, and you have to pay for them. I can't pay for them for you, and you need to be responsible. We need to start grooming you so you understand what it is that you need to do. How am I going to do something for you and then expect for you to be successful long term? You don't know what I did. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what to do. And it's all because you didn't want to take the time to learn about your business, right? This is your business. You need to take accountability for it. I understand we are all busy. We all have our lives. We all have families, but you need to dedicate at least an hour a day to building your business credit, whether that's educating yourself, whether that's opening accounts, opening a bank account, because sometimes something as simple as opening a business bank account can take an hour, right? And by the end of that phone call, you're exhausted, or by the end of that meeting, you're exhausted, right? But you have to put the time in, okay? It doesn't come easy. And if you want someone to do everything for you, I hate to say this, but how are you going to know what to do long term? You're always going to be depending on somebody else to do it for you. And most of the time, the reason why you want someone else to do it for you is because you're scared, right? You don't want to do it. We don't want, by nature, as humans, we don't want to do anything that's foreign to us, that we don't know how to do, that we're not comfortable with, we're not educated about. So our first instinct is, let me just pay someone to do this for me, right? But that's the wrong mentality to have with credit. You have to understand how to be successful long term, or else you're going to turn into one of those repeat customers that keeps coming back every time you need something done, right? And that's not what you want to do. You want to be self-sufficient, and you want to learn the process. It's okay to pay for coaching, to pay for mentoring, to pay for someone to help guide you, but you have to be a part of the process, right? You cannot be successful long-term if you don't know what the heck is going on, right? I could come and build anybody's business credit. It's not hard to do, right? Get a bunch of Net 30 accounts, charge them a bunch of money for it, and they're on their way. Good luck getting funding, right? It doesn't work like that, okay? I don't care what guru you have listened to, who you have been taught credit by. If you notice, a lot of the people that were teaching this stuff, even just 2 or 3 years ago, they are no longer around. Why? Because they were fraud. They were, just not good people. And, people that say, I learned a lot from them. You can always learn from different people, right? It doesn't mean that they're necessarily meant to be coaches or meant to be educators, right? Because at the end of the day, all that those people cared about was people buying into their program at a very high cost, a very high entry fee. Most of those so-called gurus that were charging, $5,000 for their Lambo package, they're no longer on YouTube anymore, right? Some of the people that I used to watch on YouTube when I was sitting at my 9 to 5 learning about personal and business credit, They don't do videos anymore, right? The one person that I did listen to that I learned a lot from that is still going strong because he's a solid individual and he's not trying to sell you anything but provide you with value. And that's Credit Plug, right? Shout out to Credit Plug because he is full of value and he has not, veered off from his core values, and that is to help the people and to provide value. And that's what I'm here for. My core values are to help people and to provide value. Now, whether you learned nothing from me or whether you learned something from me, what I want you to take away from my videos is value, okay? There is something for everyone to learn, okay? And you just have to pay attention. Sometimes you might not catch it on the first go around. So that's why it's so important to rewatch some of these videos, because you'll have that aha moment where you're like, oh, I get it. I get it. And all of a sudden it just clicks. Like it's like a light switch going off, right? I get it. It's not so hard after all. Perfect. I could do it on my own. I'm educated. So let's get through this. That was just a little rant. Don't mind me. Okay. Sunbelt Rentals, they report to Dun & Bradstreet and Experience. So if you need to rent equipment for anything, again, sign up for a commercial account with Sunbelt Rentals. That kind of goes into like the U-Haul account that I was telling you guys about when I was moving. I signed up for a commercial U-Haul account, and that helped me build business credit. So with Sunbelt, same kind of concept. A lot of these are the same concept as far as you have to be in good standing with the state. You have to have your EIN number. You have to have your business address matching everywhere. Now, one thing that I will drop for you guys, if you are using a home address or a P.O. box, I suggest that you change your business address. You want to have a virtual business address. You have two options. You can get a virtual business address with Opus, who is, that's who I use. It's $99 a month for a professional business address. And what I like about them is it includes a live receptionist with a business telephone number. So you can actually have the receptionist answer during normal business hours. They'll answer in your business's name. Thank you for calling ABC Consulting. How can I help you? Oh, sure. Let me go ahead and transfer you. They will transfer the callers to your cell phone number or the number that you've provided to them. And now you have a live receptionist at your business location, which is super professional. I remember when I was working full time at my 9 to 5, I had to go into the office every day. It was a nightmare. I hated it. But I had the live receptionist, and I remember a client calling in and they're going, oh, you're in the office today. And, it sounds so professional. And little did they know I'm at work, right? And I'm answering phones for another business. I'm working for another business because I literally was in my first, couple years of business. It took me about, I fired my boss March of 2021. So a little over 2 years ago, I fired my boss, and I started with that company, I believe in 2018. So I was there for a couple years, and I finally realized this is not for me. I'm miserable with this job. I've got to do something else. Something has to give. And based on, my experience with credit and having such a hard time getting educated from paying people, I said, the heck with it. I'm going to learn all this stuff myself. And I got into personal credit, and then I quickly discovered business credit. And it was life-changing. I will just leave it at that. It's literally life-changing. Like, I was living in the little crappy 1-bedroom apartment with my family, and we had no room. It was literally like 700 square feet, because at the time, that's literally all that I could get approved for. And even then, it was like pulling teeth to get approved because my credit score was so low, But ultimately, we are now in a, big old house, and it feels great. It feels great. We have 3 cars, we rent them out on Turo. But before, I remember waking up one day and my car was gone. And I said, someone stole the car. And my boyfriend said, no, it got repossessed. So it was bad for us, for a while. But you have to just kind of work on things, and nothing about credit comes fast, right? Don't expect your life to just be fully transformed in 60 or 90 days. It doesn't work like that. You have to show your ability to pay back debt as agreed. Okay. That's the biggest takeaway that I can give you guys is it takes time to build payment history. Okay. So we'll just leave it at that. But, you do need a business bank account. You need some trade references. If you are not approved, you may call for additional information. You can ask them about financials, tax returns, etc., or you can offer to put a PG to get approved. Sometimes they might not approve you if you are a newer business, like under 2 years. So just keep that in mind. And that's pretty much the concept with a lot of these places. Some of them are like 1 year, some of them are 2 years, some of them are 3 years. And believe me, there's nowhere in their policy where it says this information. Okay, so this is not information that you can just ask them or Google, because they're not going to tell you. They're very, very secretive about this type of information. So that's why it's important for you, when you do call in, you want to talk to the credit department or the financial department and ask them, hey, why was I declined? I don't mind putting a PG or a deposit, or do you guys need some sort of financial records from me? It might be a simple fix like that. So let's move on to the Sam's Club MasterCard. So this is a very popular card. This is probably one of the only MasterCards that are a revolving line of credit that do not require a PG. So I'm a huge fan of the Sam's Club MasterCard. And in order for you to get this Sam's Club MasterCard, you need to be a membership warehouse member. So you need to have the $99 membership with Sam's Club. If you have the $50 membership, you need to pay and get it upgraded, because only members that have the $99 membership are allowed to apply for the business MasterCard, the Sam's Club Business MasterCard. Now, this is a limited item that offers their membership a no PG credit card. So this is huge, right? And you can shop wherever MasterCard is used, which is great, right? So they can give you, things for the vending machine. If you have a vending machine company, or if you're starting a vending machine company, this is a great one. They do report to Experian. And another thing to keep in mind, you have to apply in store. Okay. And let's talk about what it's going to take to actually get you approved for the Sam's Club MasterCard. So again, Secretary of State, good standing, EIN with the IRS, business address and business telephone number need to match everywhere. Keep in mind, one of my experiences with this is they have to call the business to verify. So you need to make sure that your business address, your business telephone number is going to ring to your phone. When they call, you're going to need to answer and verify information. Sometimes they do this, sometimes they don't. But if they have a hard time verifying your information online, maybe you're not populated. I believe that Sam's Club is using Bing to do their searches. So you want to make sure that your business information is registered with Bing.com. That's Bing.com, Bing.com. It's a search engine. and you want to make sure that your business information is matching everywhere. Now, we will get into, in the business credit course, there is a number of places to list your business online. So if you haven't got that far in the course, you want to check that out and make sure that you have registered your business with all of those different places. Your Experian business report has to have a minimum of 3 trade lines reporting. If the business is less than 2 years old, or you can bypass with the age over 2 years, and you can still apply even without any trade lines reporting to your business credit report. Now, you can apply for more than one card, and this is a revolving line of credit. So it's like a credit card, a real credit card where you have a credit limit, say it's like $10,000. And, revolving means that the balance can change every month based on your spending habits. Okay. Keep in mind, the Sam's Club Business MasterCard is going to ask you for your DUNS number on the application. Now, sometimes they are underwritten by Synchrony. So sometimes, the people that are calling you, they're going to be calling from like overseas, but they're just calling to verify your business because of whatever reason, for security purposes. Sometimes they have to actually call you. So whatever your business number is, hopefully you have it set up to where you can answer it on your phone. I do recommend going into the store Monday through Friday during normal business hours. Do not go on the weekend because you're going to have a harder time verifying your business. You want to go Monday through Friday, probably earlier in the morning, to get approved. So that way everything is open. All the departments are open. If they are going to call you and verify your business, it's going to ring to your cell phone. You can answer it and verify whatever information that they're going to ask you. Now, you do see that they are saying that they want your business to be at least 2 years old. I would still apply, to be honest with you. I would still apply, and if they do ask anything, you can say that you were operating as a sole proprietor before you actually incorporated the business. This is one of my favorite business credit cards because of the fact it does not require a personal guarantee. It is a real live credit card. A lot of the other credit cards that people get with no PG, and we'll get into some of those, they're not a true revolving credit card. They're a net 30 account. So whatever you spend on that card, you have to pay it back within 30 days. They will automatically take it from your account, as a matter of fact. So, again, this is the Business Club MasterCard, and they could also be looking at your Dun & Bradstreet credit profile because back in the day, a few years ago, I remember when I first applied for this card, they did look at my Dun & Bradstreet credit profile. Things are always changing and they're very secretive about their approval process. So you just want to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row. Everything is set up when you are going after funding. That's why it's so important for you to understand this and be educated so you're not just wasting your time. Like when you go into Sam's Club on like a Monday or Tuesday morning to apply, you want to make sure that, you have everything set up. Your business credit reports are solid. Your information can be verified online. If you're not sure if your information can be verified online, go to Bing.com and do a simple search on yourself. If you can't find yourself, guess what? Nobody else can either, because their representatives are doing the same thing. They're going to Bing, they're doing a search, and if they can't find you, you're not real. And that's where a manual review might come into place, where they have to call you and verify information to verify your identity. Now, I am hearing that the requirements for this are getting more and more strict because there is no PG. So you definitely want to make sure that you have some trade accounts already reporting. Net accounts, net 30, those are fine as long as you've had, that those payment experiences recorded, so they won't look at you like you're a high risk. So again, apply in store, have to have the $99 membership, and make sure that you're all set up. So let's move on. FleetCor funding play. Woo! Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Step 1. Now, to qualify for the BEC, which is the business expense card from FleetCor, you want to make sure that you have a good payment history for at least 90 days, okay? You want to make sure that you are with an A or a B score on your Dun & Bradstreet and your business with Experian. Now, A or B, those are passing scores, right? And you can kind of get an idea of where you're at if you log into your accounts, or you can kind of get an idea with NAV, right? Go ahead and continue to use your original gas card for all gas and maintenance purposes if you've been actively using their gas cards, right? Step 2, you want to send FleetCor, or actually FleetCor will actually send you an email between 8 and 12 months to inform you that they can upgrade your gas card to a corporate card. And this is very, very similar to the Shell fleet cards. And I'm a huge fan of the Shell fleet cards. I actually have, that's what I use, is the Shell fleet cards for gas and maintenance and all that good stuff, because we have a Turo business. Now, you probably won't receive a huge credit line increase if you request it, right at 90 days. So you want to just keep in mind, as you're building, everything is all coming together. It takes time. Again, nothing fast about credit. Get that out of your mind. Nothing is going to happen in 3 months or 6 months that's going to make a huge difference, right? You really want to give this a year, 2 years. It takes time, okay? You probably, you probably won't receive a huge increase if you ask right at 90 days, but as time progresses, you will, okay? Once you accept the offer, you will receive an additional corporate card to be used anywhere where MasterCard is accepted, okay? Now, with this card, you'll be able to take cash out at an ATM, pay other bills, anything that you can do with a normal MasterCard, right? FleetCor gas card can be upgraded to the BEC and you will receive a massive credit line increase, but most people don't know about this. But guess what? Now you do, right? So you can actually use that. So let's go over this one more time. You want to open up the FleetCor card, right? You want to wait at least, months, I would say. And then once they send you that email after you've had an account with them for 8 to 12 months, and they are advising you, hey, based on your payment experience, based on our relationship, we want to inform you that we can upgrade your gas card to a corporate card. By all means, let's do it, right? Now, if for some reason you feel like I haven't heard from them, you can certainly call them and ask them, inquire about it, and see if you can upgrade to the corporate MasterCard. You don't want to get a PG. So this is a way that you don't have to get a PG for this particular card. And here is another PG card that you can potentially get. It's not going to happen overnight. You're going to need to prove yourself to be credible and trustworthy. But guess what? It will happen over time. And we as a part of this community, we are not looking for short-term fixes. We're not looking to cut corners. We're not looking to cheat the system. Okay. We are looking for long-term success that is going to build generational wealth over time. Okay. That is the goal. If you're looking for a quick fix, this is not the place that you want to be, because quick fixes, they never last long. Remember, this is a marathon. It is not a sprint. Take your time, make the right moves, okay? One small mistake could cost you big time. Okay, so let's move on to level 3. Now, I appreciate you guys sticking around for as long as you have. I want to make sure that you guys are subscribed to my YouTube channel. You're following me on Instagram. If you are watching this video, thank you, thank you, thank you. But I need a favor from you. I need you to give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you found value here, okay? Let me know if you want me to make more videos like this so I can educate you guys and provide solid value, okay? Now, it is harder for me to record videos, so if you want to get more training, education, coaching, mentoring, you're going to need to sign up for my one-on-one coaching. I also am going to be starting a mentorship towards the end of this year. You can sign up to become on the waiting list for that, and we can get this party started. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's dive into level 3. All right, level 3, let's go. Now, you want to have at least 5 to 7 trade accounts reporting to your business credit. The goal is 10, but we can get away with between 5 and 7, okay? Now, of course, keep in mind, the more, the merrier, okay? That is always going to be the case when it comes to business credit. The more accounts that you have showing your ability to pay on time, the merrier, the better, okay? Add 2 to 4 trade accounts from level 3, and we'll go over some of those accounts that you can get. There are a ton of accounts that you can review inside of the business credit course. Some accounts that are, level 2 and level 3, they can be kind of, in the same bucket, if you will, as far as the levels or the tiers go. But you want to just, I would say, just do what works best for you, right? If you're unsure, you can always purchase a single coaching session from myself and we can go over it so that way you can get some clarity to ensure that you're doing everything right. Now, when you do make a purchase, you want to make sure that you are making that purchase with your net or credit terms. That is extremely important. A lot of people miss that. I know it sounds like common sense, but you want to make sure, especially like if you're going to check out and they're asking for a credit card, do not put your credit card in. Sometimes you may have to call because you want them to bill your commercial account so that way you can use your net 30 or your credit account to make that purchase, okay? Now, it is payments on the net or credit terms that are reported. So if you make a payment with your debit card or your credit card, it is not going to report to the business credit bureaus. And I have gone over this before, so that is it's very important for you to understand that only the payments that are under your credit account will be reported. So that's why it's so hard for people to actually do all of this for you, because sure, we can open up the accounts, or you can even hire a virtual assistant once you have your blueprint as far as what accounts that you want to open. But you're going to have to make a purchase with your credit account and you're going to have to pay it back. Once you're invoiced, I recommend paying it almost immediately, right? Because just get that out the way. Like, let's just make that payment and get that behind us so we don't have to worry about it, okay? Because the longer time goes on, the more likely you are to forget. And if you get a late payment, it is detrimental to our growth here, right? It is very, very difficult once you get a late payment. So it is extremely important for you to be responsible, not have any hiccups with business credit. It is not easy to get that corrected at all, if impossible. Okay. So, because it is what it is. You were late, right? Unless you have some sort of valid excuse, but even then, it's likely that it might not ever go away. So it's so important for you to not make any hiccups along the way and ensure that all of these accounts that you are buying into are paid on time. That's the most important thing when it comes to business credit, is those on-time payments. You can get away with having a higher credit card utilization on the business side, but of course, like, that could also affect you. As long as the business credit card is not reporting to your personal credit, then by all means, use it for what you have to use it for. You just need to make sure that you understand the terms and that you're paying the payments on time. Now, if you're going after like more credit cards when you have a maxed out business credit card, I'm not sure that would be, a great decision as far as, funding goes. So that's why we do funding sequences, right? And when you are going after funding, you're applying for multiple accounts at the same time, and then you can do what you want with them. And then when you go back for more funding, you just want to make sure that everything is looking good. Like, you don't have a super high balance with your credit cards, but also have an understanding of like where these credit cards are reporting, and whomever you're applying with, are they going to be looking at that report? If they won't see the credit card, then it's no big deal, right? Okay, so let's move on here. Now, you want to make sure that when you are using your vendor accounts or credit accounts, that you're making a purchase. Generally, it's over $75. It could be more, it could be less, but you always want to make sure that you're meeting that minimum threshold in order for them to report that to the business credit bureaus. And again, it is going to take anywhere from 30 to 90 days for your repayment to report to the business credit bureaus. Okay, so it does take time. It's not as fast as some of us would like to move, but it is moving. Okay, slow movement is better than no movement. All right, let's go. BP, Business Solution Fuel Card. This is a level 3 card. This is going to allow you to fuel up at different SB branded locations in the US. Now, you want to control your spending by setting gallon limits for each card, and you can take charge of your company's fuel expenses by stopping unauthorized purchases that may be related to fraud. Okay, so the BP Business Solution Fuel Card is, it's a great card. I love fuel cards, don't get me wrong, but I would stick to, just a couple that you can actually use in your area. So if you can use BP, great. But there are some areas where that's not going to be the most common gas station, right? So if you don't want to get a BP, Shell is a good alternative, okay? So let's go move through. What does it take to get approved with BP? Now, the entities should be in good standing, EIN, DNB number. If you're not approved based on your business credit, they might ask you for a deposit or a personal guarantee. They do approve people on different net terms. Make sure you understand your terms. This is one of the biggest reasons why people get themselves in trouble. They don't understand the terms. All they care about is, I got approved. Well, an approval is just half the battle. And it seems like as soon as someone hears those magic words, you're approved, everything else falls out the window. I don't care, I got approved. Okay, great, we got approved, but what are the terms, okay? That's always my question to people, especially when they're like, oh, I got approved for a no PG auto loan. Great. What are the terms? What's your interest rate? 26%? Wow, you could have got a 3% if you PG'd it. That would have saved you hundreds and thousands of dollars. Wow. Okay, so it's not always the best financial decision, but you all want to understand your terms. Is it net 7? Is it net 10? Is it net 15? What is my interest rate? What is my APR? Make sure you understand the terms, okay? Let's move on to the Universal Fleet MasterCard. The Universal Fleet MasterCard is accepted for most places, honestly. They severely support small businesses, and they have a pretty good little rewards program that they offer. So again, when you go to the gas station, usually there's like a little sticker on the pump, and it has like all of the different fuel cards that is accepted. And sometimes you wouldn't think that fuel cards are accepted at, this location, but they are. So you can always look there. Generally, the people that work there, they may or may not know. But, one tail reason to get it figured out pretty quickly is to stick that card into the machine. And if it is declined, chances are it's not taken there. So there you have it. That's easy peasy, right? The Universal Fleet MasterCard also reports to Dun & Bradstreet and Experience. So another great way to build up that business credit. Now, as far as getting approved, same thing, good standing, EIN, address up to date everywhere. Oh, you know what? I'm talking about, I get so caught up talking and providing value, I forgot to review the address. So let's do that real fast, because when I go off track, I want to give you guys so much information, but I get taken off track. So with the business address, you can use Opus. I went over the receptionist and the reason why I like it. That's $99 a month, and it's a real commercial business location. One thing that you want to do is make sure that the address is not set up as a receiving address with the USPS. And we will go over that later or in another video, but you want to make sure that it is a commercial location. It is not a UPS store. It is not a Staples store. It is not a postal annex or any sort of postal box store. You cannot use that for your business address. Your business address needs a real physical location. If you're using your home address for right now, fine. But understand that address is going to be need to be listed online. Is it the best? No. Will it do? Most likely. They're more acceptable now that COVID has happened for small businesses that work out of their home. However, I personally would not recommend it. I would recommend investing into a virtual business address. Opus, that's one option. Another option is to find a small business that maybe owns the building or rents the building, and you can literally rent a mailbox from them. So what I did was I found a local print shop, and I said, hey, would you mind if I rented a mailbox where I can just, receive my mail here, and, I'll put like suite C, right? Because the difference is you have to have a different suite number than the other businesses. So if you have suite B or C or whatever suite 101, right? Now you're a totally different address, and you can literally just rent a mailbox from them. Like, hey, do you mind if I just put a mailbox in your guys' office here? And when I get mail, you just put it in this mailbox and I'll come pick it up. You can literally put like a locked mailbox in their office and just ask if you can, rent a space for like $50 a month, and just say, hey, I'll pay you for the entire year. I really just need a mailing address from a brick and mortar location, right? And I would try to find a location that's in a more predominant area, because whether you like to think so or not, credit is often approved by the area, the zip code. So even if you have to go across town where it's a little bit nice, it maybe is by like a country club, or, people around there have, nice homes, nice cars. You see a lot of the major banks over there, maybe like a Merrill Lynch. You want to go to that more predominant area and try to rent a mailbox from those places directly. Those are honestly the best addresses, because not a lot of people are using them, and you can easily find a business that is, just a small mom and pop, but it's got to be a brick and mortar, and say, hey, can I just rent a mailbox from you? Okay. You can do a simple little agreement from them, and there you have it. It's done. Okay. So that's a little hack for you guys. Now back to the Universal Fleet MasterCard. they want you to have at least 10 trade accounts reporting paid as agreed. So that's another reason why I say by the time you get to, tier 3 or level 3, you want to have 10 trade lines, 5 tier 1, 5 tier 2, 5 tier 3, just for simple math, right? You want to have at least 6 months in business. If not, and you don't have enough business credit, or you're a newer business, you can do a PG, or a deposit can be made. I try to stay away from the deposits. I personally would rather do a PG because these type of cards are not going to report to your personal credit. The only thing is you're saying, hey, if for some reason we default on this, I will be personally liable for the debt that my business took on. Okay, but it's not going to report to your personal credit. So there's really no risk. And we don't want to get something if we're already planning on going out of business, right? That's pointless. Don't do that. Okay. Don't take on what you can't afford to pay, right? And I get it. We all have to build, but you want to do it smart. Okay. We want to work smarter, not harder. Payment terms can be anywhere from net 7 to net 30. Let's move on to the Tesoro, I cannot say this word, Tesoro Commercial Fleet. Tesoro Commercial Fleet and Universal Cards will save your business time and money. They report to Dun & Bradstreet and Experian. And let's talk about what you need to get approved, okay? Same thing as everything else, good standing, business address, DNB number, bank account. If you are not approved based on your business credit history, or you've been in business for less than 1 year, again, you can do the $500 deposit, or you can do a PG. Payment terms are generally net 22. So again, you got to pay 22 days from the date that they invoice you. So this is another option for you. And it's great because even if you are a newer business, then you can get approved for it as long as you have your business credit built up. So that's why it's so important to start building business credit as early as, month 3, where you can, get some from some of these tier 1 places, even if you have to make a couple purchases and pay them before they will offer you a credit account, right? We're building up to this, okay? Let's move on to the Thornton Fleet work. Thornton strives daily to be our guests' favorite place to stop when they are on the go. And as a family and team member owned, they are a privately held company. They are team-based, they are high energy, and they are a combination of entrepreneurial spirits and core values centered around our guests. So I love working with places like this who share the same type of core values, and they report to Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. So in order to get approved from them, pretty much the same thing as everywhere else, business bank account, all of that good stuff. Now they're looking for at least a year in business. If you have not been approved based on your business credit history, or you've been in business for less than 1 year, a $500 deposit might be required, or you can do a PG. Payment terms, net 30. So again, you got to pay 30 days from the date that they invoice you. PG is not the end of the world. Generally, people, like I say before, if you are like, oh my God, I don't want to PG it. Well, why don't you want to PG it? Because if you don't want to PG it, it's either because you have bad credit. But these type of places that are asking for a PG, their credit requirements aren't as high as a bank would be, right? So you could probably still get away with like a 680, or like a low 700, right? The goal is to have a 700, but you could probably get away with a lower credit score with some of these places, and they do not report to your personal credit. So the only thing that you're really guaranteeing here is, hey, if my business defaults for some reason, I will be personally liable for the debt that my business took on, okay? If your personal credit is not good and it's going to take a while to fix, you can have someone else that is a, member of your business, or is a shareholder, or is, under your business as a corporate member, you can have them be your credit guarantor, right? People do that a lot where they will pay them to be their credit guarantor because they have good credit. Family members, friends, but of course, be careful because you're putting these people's credit on the line. You need to make sure you're doing the right thing, okay? Let's move on to HD Supply. HD Supply is a pretty popular one, and they have a huge selection of different tools and materials, hand tools, power tools, concrete. So if you are a contractor or you work in a field where you're going to need a lot of building supplies, this is a great place for you to start a commercial account. Okay, very similar to like the Home Depot, if you will, right? Now, they are going to report to Experian, and in order for you to get approved, you're going to need to have all of the standards: good standing, EIN, business address, DNB number, business bank account, and again, it's a net 30 term. Now, let's talk about UCC filings. UCC filings are something that you may or may not be educated on. A UCC filing is a legal notice a lender or other creditor files with the Secretary of State when they have a security interest against you, your business, or a specific asset, okay? It is always best to check your UCC filings before applying for any new business loans or funding so that you don't get caught by surprise by something that you didn't really know existed, right? For those of you that took out PPP loans, you took out, a lot of these, funding opportunities from the SBA during COVID. If you have not paid it back or you have not been forgiven, you are going to have a UCC filing against you. So you need to make sure that you're on top of that. You want to check your Secretary of State's website. Okay, you can also check NAV, or you can check your Dun & Bradstreet report. You want to make sure that you are on top of this. If you need to remove a UCC filing, you have a few options. You can ask the lender to terminate the lien upon payoff because there is really no way around the SBA. It is like government, so you're going to need to make sure that you've paid it, or if you have a PPP that's outstanding, whatever the case may be, you need to make sure that you get it resolved. When you pay off a loan, the good rule of thumb is to immediately submit a request to the lender to file that UCC-3 form with the Secretary of State. That UCC-3 form will terminate the lien on your company's assets, and it will remove that UCC-1 filing, okay? Now, option 2, you can visit the Secretary of State's office. If your lender fails to file the UCC-3 form after you have satisfied your debt, another option that you can consider is making the request yourself. You can only do this if it is paid off. So there is no way around getting this removed like you could with, personal credit unless it's paid. So option 3 is, hire an attorney. If for some reason it's fraudulent, it's fake, it wasn't you, someone got a PPP loan under your business name without your knowledge, you're going to need to consult with an attorney because that's serious, right? You're probably going to need to do a police report and so on and so forth. But that is how you go about the UCC filings. I've had a lot of clients that have come to me and they did not even know that they had this UCC filing. We actually had to find out when they got declined, and it said, there is a filing against you, a public record. So make sure that you're on top of that. Let's talk about reclassifying versus renaming our business. These are some very popular topics, and I want to make sure that you guys are clear on this. Reclassifying your business is one thing. This is where you assign something to a different category based on a certain criteria or different characteristics, right? This is reclassifying your business. Now, we also have renaming our business because, again, all this stems from high risk business classifications, high risk business names. Like, for example, I have multiple businesses. One of my business names is Credit Coach Pros. That is a high risk business name. Another one of my business names is Your Online Business Services. That is a low risk business because we provide online business services such as content creation, websites, landing pages, CRMs, and so much more, right? So you want to make sure that when you are initially doing your business, you name your business something very general, right? You don't necessarily need everyone to know what your business does based on the business name. In fact, it's better to stay very broad because you can say, hey, my name is maybe, Michelle Santos, right? Well, you can do Michelle Santos Enterprises. I always recommend that you incorporate your business name because you are your business, right? And you could do something as easy as, Michelle Santos Enterprises or Santos Enterprises. You just have to make sure that the business name is available. But you can always rename your business and it will not affect your business history. That's why if you already have an existing business that has history, and mind you, you may have not done anything with your business, right? You just maybe have established it and you have done nothing else with it. That's fine. As long as you filed your annual reports, it is in good standing with the Secretary of State. That's perfectly fine. You don't need to have income generated or anything. You just have to have had your business established and it needs to be in good standing with the Secretary of State. Okay. Now, renaming is the process of giving a business a new name or changing its current name to a different one. Generally, like I said, it's because the business name that you originally gave your business is considered high risk. Now, if you do anything in the trucking industry, I recommend the word logistics. Michelle Santos Logistics, or something of that nature, right? Now, if you are wanting to get more information, you can always schedule a one-on-one with me, or you can contact a CPA. I don't give legal advice. I just give information based on experience, okay? So, let's talk about how you can go about this. You want to rename with the Secretary of State, and then you also want to update it with the IRS. You can also update if you're changing your business address from like a home business address to a commercial location, whether you have signed up with Opus or you have found a local business owner that's willing to rent a mailbox to you for, a little bit of nothing. I would, you can start by offering them, $25, $30 a month. And you can say, look, I'll just pay you for the year. $50 is a little much, but if you're in a nice area, $50 is worth it to me because you're going to be paying Opus $99. So you can even go up to like $75, $80 a month to rent from them for a year's time frame. And, just do a contract and have them sign it. All that you're doing is just receiving mail at their office to a mailbox, okay? And you can just have like a little locked mailbox where your mail would be delivered. Same concept with a virtual office. They're just receiving mail on your behalf. But one thing that you want to keep in mind is you need to go to the USPS.com and you need to verify that that business address is not a receiving address. So let's do an example. So you want to go to the USPS.com and you want to go to the quick tools. You want to look up a zip code. Look up a zip code. You want to do it by address. Find a zip code by address. Okay. Next, you want to go ahead and you want to put in your address and company information. What we are doing here is we are going to see if this address is listed as a commercial mail company, which we do not want, okay? If you see no, that's what we want. We do not want a commercial mail receiving agency. So if you see that that is a Y for yes, we need to change our address. And sometimes that is a simple fix. So let's talk about, addresses just for a second before we wrap this up, because I just want you to understand that the foundation is so important, making sure that you follow all of these small steps. That's why I say we don't want to cut any corners. We don't want to try to rush the process. You definitely want to make sure that you are educated about what is going on and what goes into a successful business sequence, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about that real fast. Now, we don't want to use a home address. We do not want to use a P.O. box. We want to use a real location. And I've talked about this before, but I just want to hammer it home before we end this masterclass, because I want you guys to understand the importance of using a commercial, real brick and mortar location, whether you do it through Opus, Regis, iPostal. You got to double check those addresses. They are cheaper, but sometimes they could be considered a mail receiving address. So I would either recommend Opus. I've been using them myself for years. Even before I started this business, I used them for another business where we would do virtual locations in other states. So it always worked out well for us. Or you can find a real brick and mortar business and ask them to simply rent a mailbox, okay? It just needs to be a separate suite number. So suite B, suite 101, whatever the suite number is, that's what you want to put as your address, right? Here's a pro tip. I always tell everyone, double check to make sure your business address isn't flagged. We just went over how to do that. But again, so important, look that address up before you purchase the address. So even with like Opus or iPostal or any of these other third parties that you can purchase a virtual address from, you want to just look that address up. Of course, you won't have the suite number, but the suite number is not important. It's just that address. Once you look that address up, it will tell you right there if this is a commercial mail receiving agency, which of course, banks will downgrade that because it's not really, solid. So you have to kind of look at it from the bank standpoint. The bank wants to do business with real brick and mortar locations, and they want you to look good on paper. Okay. So we went through step one, looking it up. You can just go to the quick tools from the USPS.com. Now, how do you change your address? You want to make sure that you've updated your address with the Secretary of State, the business credit bureaus, the banks, the IRS, and more. You want to use the 8822B. That's the form. You can literally Google it, or that form is also in our business credit course. You want to use that 8822B as in business to update your address with the IRS. Okay. Do not apply for anything until these changes are updated, okay? If you need to change it with Google, with, 411 or whomever else you need to update it with online, Yelp, whomever, you want to get that updated, okay? Now, business phone number. I've talked about this in the past, but I'm just going to kind of breeze over it real fast. Here are some different places that you can use. You can also use your Opus. So Opus has the business telephone number. We went over that earlier, and it is included in that $99 fee. So if you are interested in signing up for Opus, use our link below. We are partnered with Opus. It's no cost to you. You can actually save $100 by using our discount code. So go to the link below and you can actually save on signing up with Opus. You can actually open or switch your phone lines to business lines using only your EIN. So you can get like Verizon reports to Dun & Bradstreet and Experian. That can be a no PG. So that's a great way to, again, start moving everything over to the business side of things. Now, if you are going to be getting like over $3,500, then you might need to get with an account manager with Verizon on the commercial side. So that way they can help you, because of course there's different departments and you want to go to Verizon Business. They are not open all the time. They are a totally different department. You're going to need to call and get with an account manager. Now, you also want to have a business email and a business website that match. So you don't want to have just, a Gmail account, right? You want to make sure that you have at yourbusiness.com, support at yourbusiness.com, or whatever the case may be, right? You want to make sure that that's set up properly. If you want to get a business website or a business email, you can do it from a number of different places online. I use Wix for my website. You can get your domain name through, a third party like GoDaddy or Google. You can go to Google Business Workspace and get a business email and a business domain name. And then you will need to build a website with Wix. Wix is super easy. It's very, inexpensive. And you can build a nice professional website. They have templates on there that you can just edit. So I highly recommend Wix. There are training videos inside of the course on how to build your website using Wix. So make sure to watch those. But like I said, if you want to get your email, you can either do it with, Google Workspace or GoDaddy. Either way, they're both going to give you a domain and email. I personally like Google, because Google Business Workspace has a lot of tools that you're going to be using within your business, and you can keep organized with your Google Drive. Let's move on to business bank account. Now, these are just a few things that we're going to touch on briefly before we get into our next training. Now, this was just about, the business credit bureaus, but in our upcoming training, we're going to be talking about funding. We're going to be talking about so much more. So you want to make sure that you're staying on track with the course. You're keeping up to date with the new stuff that's being added. You have reviewed everything. I know it's a lot of information, but if you need one-on-one coaching, I'm here for you. Okay. You can sign up for a one-on-one coaching package. They're on sale right now, and you can get them while I'm still offering one-on-one coaching, because next year I'm not going to have as much time to have for coaching. So we're going to be focusing more on the group mentorship, which is still valuable because you can ask questions at the end. So you want to go open up a business bank account where you can build a solid relationship with a local or regional or national bank. I highly recommend going into the branch and asking to speak with the commercial bank relationship manager. And you want to just have a good conversation with them, build some rapport with them. If you're not feeling them, if you don't feel like it's going to be a good fit for you guys to work together, go to a different bank, because that's who their banking relationship manager is. They might have multiple, but you want to talk to the head honcho. You want to talk to the one that's been there for years. You want to talk to the one that knows the ins and outs, that has seen thousands of businesses walk in and out those doors with funding. Okay? That's the person that you want to speak with. So you want to build that relationship with them. You might have to interview a few bankers, right? Don't feel bad to say, look, I don't think this is going to be a good fit based on, what they're telling you. And you want to ask them questions, bring in some questions that you want to ask them, and ask them straight up, like, what type of funding do you guys offer? What type of no document funding do you guys offer? How do your business lines of credit work? How do your business credit cards work? Who do they report to? What credit bureau do you guys use to pull to approve me? I just want to make sure that, it's going to be a good fit for us to work together long term, because I have multiple businesses and, want to build a long, meaningful relationship with your bank. High risk industries. I went over this briefly as far as why you might want to rebrand yourself if you are listed as a high risk industry. Your business could be bucketed incorrectly by banks, so they could automatically decline you just based on your business name because it's a high risk industry. You want to optimize your business name and your NAICS code. So those need to coincide and those need to match inside of your business credit reports. Like with Dun & Bradstreet, you can correct your NAICS code. If you need help correcting your NAICS code with the business bureaus, you can email them, you can call them. You might need to get on the phone with someone and actually speak to them. You might need to get an account manager with them so that way you can get helped properly. You're going to need to know what your NAICS code is, though. They're not going to tell you. You need to have that information and say, look, I noticed an error and my NAICS code on my report is listed inaccurately. I need to update that to the correct NAICS code and provide them with the correct NAICS code. Make sure this information is updated everywhere, online, on your website, anywhere that someone could find you with a search. You want to make sure that's updated. High-risk industry types: money lending, trucking, restaurants, real estate, land development, fix and flips, adult industries, gambling, casinos, liquor, tobacco, cannabis, dry cleaners, and auto rentals. So, and credit is also on there as a high risk. So anything with money lending, anything with credit, some banks will absolutely decline you based on the fact that they do not work with credit repair, credit coaching, business credit, nothing credit like Navy Federal. If you have the word credit on your website with Navy Federal, you are automatically declined. The rep on the phone will literally tell you, we do not work with your type of industry. So you want to be educated about what works with different banks. And that's why it's always good to go into the bank and interview the banking relationship manager for commercial accounts. You want to build a relationship with them. You want to be asking them questions. What type of bank, what type of businesses do you not work with? Because I actually work with a lot of businesses, and once I get my experience with you guys, I want to be able to refer my clients, friends, and family. But I just want to make sure I understand who you work with, who your target audience is, right? Who you guys give funding to in so many words, right? We can't maybe spell that out, but who do you guys work with, right? Who is your ideal client? Don't be afraid to ask those hard questions. I know sometimes they're not comfortable, but they're necessary, right? So let's talk about some low risk alternatives as far as your business. If you are construction, real estate, or auto rentals, you can just be general management because you manage fleet, you manage construction, you manage real estate. Property managers, that's also an alternative. Great for fix and flips, Airbnb, construction. Consulting, that's one of my favorites because I'm in consulting, right? Instead of credit repair, financial services, agency owners, anything credit related, consulting. Okay, that's what you want to be under. General business services. This could be pretty much just about any business, right? This is a real popular one. It's very broad and it's very low risk. Electronic shopping and mail order houses. That can be for your online store. Say you have an Amazon store or, Walmart or whatever. There you go. Logistics. I brushed on this earlier. This is great for trucking, delivery, heavy equipment, and so on. I love the word logistics because it's very broad, right? And it's low risk. Because let's just be honest, trucking is high risk. Those trucks break down. They're very expensive to use. It could literally put someone out of business within days. So it's very risky. Let's talk about some of the low risk NAICS code that you can use to replace your current high risk one. So 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁𝗍𝗲, that's general management and consulting. That's going to be like your most popular NAICS code. That is just going to be a general management or consulting firm, right? And then you have your electronic shopping and mail order NAICS code. Now you can go to the NAICS website and you can look up what would be most, I guess you could say, relevant to your business model. And you can put in keywords and different NAICS codes will come up and you can just select whatever is best for you. Again, you don't want to have long haul trucker. You don't want to have rental car companies. You want to use these low risk alternative words to find the NAICS code that's going to be best fit for your business. If you do need help with that, you can schedule a one-on-one coaching session, or you can buy one of my coaching packages where we can go over and provide you with one-on-one support and solutions for your particular goals. Now we are going to wrap this whole thing up because I know that was a lot of information for you guys. But on some of our next calls and what's to come in the future, we're going to be talking about the 2 best routes for funding and business credit. And we're going to be talking about so much more when it comes to business credit. So make sure you have watched all of the videos inside of the course and you have reviewed all of the information and take action. Until next time, guys, I am your host, Credit Coach Nicole Scott. Make sure to do one small thing a day. Let's go.